Could you give us a brief insight into this whole situation about Supreme Court's ban, as well as its implications and what it means for the greater South Asian communities now?
Yeah. Well, so myself and we at SAALT are fundamentally disappointed, deeply disagree with the Supreme Court's decision to uphold the Muslim ban. And finally, I think we remain just as determined as before to make it clear that the Muslim ban does not hold a place in this country. It is not in line with our values as a nation that believes in justice, dignity, and rights for all. And I think it puts us on a slippery slope that we have to fight very, very hard against, because at its core, the Supreme Court decision institutionalized state-sponsored discrimination, in particular against Muslim-majority countries. And so knowing that this country has predicated itself and its history and its identity on really welcoming all faiths, all individuals, all immigrant communities to come to the U.S., we are, by virtue of the Supreme Court's decision, we took a step backward as a nation. And we have to make sure that we and our nation's laws actually do all that we can to fight back against the reality and the message that the Supreme Court's decision on the Muslim ban sent.
Right.
I want to be very clear that by virtue of explicitly banning all individuals from several Muslim majority countries, this nation really and the Supreme Court sent a message to folks from really across the globe who have historically wanted to come to the U.S. To seek refuge, to seek solace, to seek protection, that offer is no longer a viable one. And so we, I think, in the community must remain vigilant to make sure that we are not upholding, agreeing, or underlining that attitude and that message as we continue to move forward as a nation. Many of us, are continuing to move forward with lawsuits to actually push back against the Muslim ban. There's legislation that would essentially make sure that no federal money or funding could go toward implementing the ban. And I think we at the community level have to continue to make sure that we stand strong and united against the impact of the ban, because what I can tell you that will absolutely come next.
Why do you think it is the Muslim population being attacked right now? I want to investigate in a way why globally, when you look at the greater Islamic population, they are going through a lot more racism, prejudice, and Islamophobia in that way on a way higher level as compared to perhaps other communities, even other South Asian communities.
Sure.
What do you think is the key reason, Suman?
Well, I can't comment on what's happening on a global level, right? But what I can certainly say is that what we are seeing in the U.S. Is seeing echoes that far presage this in Europe, in India, in Latin America, in various parts of the country, and really, of course, across the globe. So I think, we don't have time really to get into all the root causes, but I will say that there is a troubling echo chamber that is increasingly and unjustly targeting Muslim folks in particular, or those who are perceived as Muslim, right? Srinivas Kuchibutla, when he was killed in Kansas early last year, was seen by his attacker, by his murderer, as someone who was Middle Eastern and someone who was Muslim, neither of which were true, right? So I think it's important for the Indian American community in particular in this country to realize and to be reminded that really no one is safe from violence.
Right.
It is all a matter of perception. And in particular, I think part of the challenge to the administration and to those who are moving forward with the Muslim ban is the perception that we are all monolithic. Right? That by virtue of our skin color, by virtue of our perceived religion, that we are all the same. We know that's not the case.
Right.
But part of what's so damaging and demoralizing for so many in our community is the perception that we are all the same, right? And so out of that challenging perception, I think also comes a powerful moment for solidarity, right? That even if we are not Indian, even if we are not Muslim, even if we are not covered by the countries included in the travel ban,
Right.
we are all affected and all targeted, which means that this is a powerful moment for us to all stand together.
Right.
There have been individuals who have been the target of violence in this country long before Muslims came via the diaspora to the U.S., right? Black Muslims are one of the most rapidly growing demographic group in the U.S.,
Right.
Slavery brought Black Muslims to this country. So unfortunately, the history of violence affecting Muslim communities has been a long, long one in the country. And I think we made some progress to be able to push back against that.
Right.
And now is the moment for us to redouble our efforts.